You've really seen the evolution of SVG because now that gap is starting to grow. And that's the difference between a Hocevar and an SVG. Hocevar is on the verge of disaster every lap.
I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, that was stupid. I'm going to be like, that's hard racing. That's what we want to see.
Sonoma, another road course. You've won there. Even Clint Boyer's won there.
Cup racing's for Sunday. Welcome to Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by NASCAR on Fox. I'm Kevin Harvick. She's Kaitlyn Vincie, and our one and only sip
Mamba
guy.
Smith.
Yes.
Oh,
Mamba
no,
Smith.
wait, it's Slippy and Harv, remember?
Slappy.
Slappy.
Slippy. It could be
Slappy and Harv.
the old Slippy Slappy over there.
I'm a little slippy sloppy after this weekend.
I'm sure.
I'm a little tired.
You look like
I'm not
shit.
gonna lie. Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks.
no,
No,
not-
I
look
don't
tired.
because we have a good makeup group that makes this.
Are you
all come
tired?
Together. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you look tired.
Well,
You worked hard.
I honestly, so we went from, this weekend was the only weekend I had to have to do driver intros while being on the broadcast.
That would be hard.
And that was an interesting mix. So like started with the first hit. Cool. We're going to go down to the stage. Oh, I put my clothes in one of my guy's bags and he broke off to a different camera.
Oh, no.
So now I'm running up and down pit road trying to find him right before the stage. Now I'm soaking in sweat, put on my shirt, do driver intros. It's fire, except the drivers were like late getting there. So now we're trying to catch back up. And then I got to run down to turn one to do the first hit for the broadcast. So it was like,
That would be super
it
stressful.
was a little hectic.
I don't like to be rushed.
Not when
Yeah.
you're getting ready to do network television.
Yeah.
Try to be ahead
It's
of
not
it.
a good feeling.
It feels like it always happens that way too. It's like it creeps up on you, and all of a sudden it's like boom, boom, boom. Oh, I forgot to eat too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Put a perfect plan together of what you're going to do and it's worthless because then it just.
And those are two different skills, the stage versus doing television. So you're kind of having to recalibrate your
Yeah.
brain to switch over. That's a lot.
I go from
Good
being
job.
up
We'll
here
cut him
to-
some slack that he looks tired.
It's a
then.
small calibration. That's a small brain up there.
Yeah, not a huge clicks going on.
Oh,
It's a small
my.
click.
Small click. Welcome into episode 44 of Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour. We've got plenty to discuss. Leaving Chicago, we're looking ahead to Sonoma, and of course, Slappy has the sips.
Yeah, we got the Mamba social sips. You know, we got
think we should
Harvick
rename
Happy
them.
Pod. No, I don't think.
Slappy sips.
No, we're not doing that. Don't do it, Tyler.
I think
swear to God,
Slappy
don't do
sips
it.
is way more fun.
No, don't do it.
That is
we have the
funny.
sips and Harvick Happy Pod. Thank you, Tyler. He says he's never gonna do it.
Oh,
Harvick
yeah.
Happy Pod on all the socials. I'm telling you, the fans were electric at Chicago. They really have come to embrace and love that event. When SVG took the lead every time, they were on their feet. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean the crowd looked good. And the thing that I love about Chicago, it's always all 3 years it's felt like they're so engaged in what's going on. You've got some of these slapsticks like this guy from the Sun Times, this Steve Greenberg guy that wrote the crappy story this morning. But for the most part, people who actually want to pay attention and be a part of the event and do the things that aren't just looking for a headline because they write bad stories. That's the truth, though. I mean, a guy like this that doesn't know anything about NASCAR doesn't want to come out and find out about the sport. He wants to just show up and talk bad. One of the best events that NASCAR has ever decided to do because of the fact they stepped out on a limb. We went street racing, and it's entertaining to watch. Everybody that was at my house yesterday, they wanted to watch the race because of what it was. It's exciting. The cars are in close quarters. You make a mistake, as we saw during this race, you pay for it, and it creates different things that you can't see on a naturally built road course or a race course. So I think it's one of the greatest events that they've created lately, and I can't wait to see where it goes next.
It's a very visually stunning event. Great city for NASCAR to come to, and it's SVG's house. You said it earlier.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
It introduced him kind of to the NASCAR fan base, and just an unbelievable performance.
Well, I think that the way that SVG came into the sport in 23 when he won the very first race, and now we're on the third year, and he's won, I think, 4 of the 6 races that we've had there. Is that right?
Oh yeah, because
with the Xfinity and Cup races.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
and he was in position to win the Cup race last year as well. Got taken out there or run into at the end of that race last year. But the thing about Shane on these types of courses where the braking is rough, the way that he can manipulate the brakes and do the things that he does and the driving style that he has, his car looks, the things that he likes in the car, I think he's gotten better at knowing what he wants in the car, incorporating some of the things that he wants to feel in the car on the road courses, and especially when you get to these street courses, you've really seen the evolution of SVG, because now that gap between how fast he is compared to the guys behind him is starting to grow. I think that the closest guy to him over the last 2 road courses has been Ty Gibbs. Mm-hmm. I think the closest guy that will be to him going forward, I think Connor Zilisch will be in that mix as you go forward at Watkins Glen. But I think his experience in the car, knowing what he wants in the car, being more comfortable as a Cup driver, having the same crew chief week in and week out, the same team week in and week out, has let him start to evolve into things that he likes even better than what he had before. And I think it's just making him more dominant on the road courses.
Yeah. If you watch his car, right? When you're watching the race, especially the shots where it's leaving, going away from the camera, he was putting the car sideways. He was sliding it into the corner, keeping speed, not abusing the tires somehow, and pulling away from the competition when he wanted to do so. And I was watching that. I'm like, I have no idea how you were able to drive it like that and then get it set up for an opposite corner, right? It was really incredible and an art to watch him do road course racing.
And one of the more interesting parts of the race for me was when he was behind Michael McDowell at the beginning of that race. And McDowell is just sliding, touching the wall, doing everything he can do. And it just looks like he's back there just waiting for him to make a mistake, to just drive by him without even any effort, and taking care of his car all at the same time. So it's pretty unbelievable to watch.
You talked about the Connor Zilisch thing. Connor and him at the end of the Xfinity race were putting on a show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I don't think Connor liked it nearly as much as SVG did. Yep. And they were getting after it heavily, and the interviews after were pretty real. They're ready to. I mean, Connor's not going to back down. And and Dale said in the broadcast the next day, like, when I went to Connor, hey man, I think he roughed you up a little bit. When I go to SVG, hell yeah, brother. I'm like, damn, bro. That's how it is, though. That's how it goes.
And they're gonna have to coexist on the same team.
Oh yes.
As they go to Watkins Glen and all the sponsors and things that they have. But that'll be an interesting dynamic to navigate as they go forward, with having 2 of the best road course racers in the world to be able to do that. And so Shane is world class. Connor is a world class road racer. So it's going to be fun to watch.
We're talking about SVG, and we want to remind the listeners that we don't have a victory lap because you will be doing a full interview with him on Thursday, right? With Mr. Shane.
Yeah, we've got Shane on as our guest this week. We booked him on Thursday because we felt like he was going to win this race. Yeah. So
give him some time off.
And I can't wait to hear his perspective of what's happened from that very first Chicago race until where we are now. Just in what he's learned, how he's navigated life in the United States. I mean, there are so many things that have changed in such a short amount of time for him.
I thought his tweet was funny. He said, "Don't bother him today until the afternoon." He's obviously celebrating.
his give a damn is like, he don't care. Like, he's out here to have fun and be a Cup driver and win races. And like, if he roughs you up, he's like, "That's good racing, mate." And if you rough him up, he's like, "It's good racing, mate." Like,
and I don't think that like when I look at the Zilisch thing, I look back and I'm thinking, I've gotten to know Shane a little bit better over the past couple of years, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, I wonder where Connor ran into him at, because there was obviously, it was, I'm winning this race today, and we might be on the same team, but I'm winning this race, and typically. And I'm just guessing here, but typically there is something along the road that he probably didn't appreciate, because he's a guy, in my mind, getting to know him, he's a guy, he doesn't forget anything. And this is all new to him. I mean, it's as far as the racing and how rough and using the bumpers and things. You think back, to last year and talking about how he had to learn how to use the bumper and when to use the side of the car and things like that. He's had to evolve into a rougher style of racing than what he grew up with.
That'll be an interesting conversation to hear his evolution in the sport. So I want to go to something that happened before the race even began. So many top contenders starting at the back. Were you surprised to see the amount of issues from practice?
No.
I
am not. And driving the first year on the street course, it is so easy to get yourself in trouble. And I think that bar with a guy like SVG being out there, I think everybody is evolving and getting better. And in order to get better, you've got to get faster. And I think that is forcing a lot of guys to push the limits. And I think that you saw it with William Byron, Chase Elliott, saw it with Hocevar. Yeah, Denny Hamlin had the engine issue basically going out of the pits, which we've talked about. We've talked about the Toyota kind of just random engine issues that they've had going on a couple years now. With the issues that we've seen pop up, and so I just think that the street course racing, I think all those guys know that you have to push, and it's just there's no curb to run off. There's there's a wall to hit on both sides, and when you turn in too early or you're too shallow or too wide, you hit the fence.
There's 2 spots of runoff. I think it was in like 7 and 11, and that was it.
And we saw a lot of guys use it in 4 too.
Yeah.
Or going into 4.
Because 4 is a crazy corner because it's a right-hander and you're carrying a lot of speed. You go from asphalt to concrete, back to asphalt, and then I think concrete again. And as you turn right, there's like 2 whoops. Big whoops in there. They're not like bumps. They're like you're rolling them. And then it's an off camber to the left, and you're turning right. So everything about the car wants to go this way. And you're trying to go this way.
And it's really, if you get too much speed into that corner, when it starts going over those whoops and you're going too fast and you try to apply more brake, it's super easy to lock the tires up right there. So saw a lot of guys in practice use that runoff trying to find that limit.
A lot of drivers having some feuds, perhaps, brewing and evolving from this race. I want to go with Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace first and take a couple looks at what's going on here, because these two were just going at it at the tail end of the race. They've have a history. Now we're trying to figure out if they squashed it after the race or not.
Yeah, well, you talk about the history, and it was definitely, it was rough. I don't know exactly. You see Bubba kind of turn over the 48 right there, but that had been going on while they were side by side, and then it evolved into a little bit of a bumper war here going into the last corner, and they got connected right there, and so it was intense, and I think that ultimately it wound up taking Bubba out of the race with the things that went on here in turn 2. So I don't know. I think it was pretty aggressive, and both of these guys are in a unique position as far as, well, Bubba more so than Alex from a point standpoint. So not what he needed, from the points piece of it, but definitely pretty intense.
Yeah, Alex is 39 above while Bubba is only 2. You interviewed Alex after the race. What did he have to say?
Yeah, Alex, he was just surprised, and he was an in-car from this whole battle. He was like, I just don't know why he'd race someone like that who has fresher tires, that is coming, making the moves that Alex was able to make and chased him down. I hate the result. I hate that someone got turned around for it. And and unfortunately for Bubba, it really was unfortunate from the point standpoint. But I'm not going to dog anyone in this situation, because we want, like, the fans and all of us want to see guys laying it all out on the line. So when they I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, that was stupid. I'm going to be like, you laid it all out there. Like, did the result be what you wanted it to be? No. But, like, we have something to talk about. That's hard racing. That's what we want to see, week in and week out. So send it, boys.
Well, and we want to see it, but I think it could have been prevented.
Definitely could have been prevented.
And I think that big picture point piece of it is super important at this point, because both of those guys, in my opinion, are on the verge of being out. Priest is outrunning them both currently and making up ground pretty quick.
There's only 2 back.
And, I think that we could, there was a moment there where Allmendinger was kind of in the mix. McDowell was kind of in the mix at the beginning before he had his issues. Going to another road course. We still have to go to Daytona. I don't know. Both of those guys are in an uncomfortable position of being on the outside looking in. So I don't know.
If I'm 16th, 15th, even 14th, I'm with this many races to go. I feel like I have to win. I feel like I have to win.
I think we're going to see more of this in the next few weeks because this is that time of year. It's crunch time. People are starting.
And you've got this whole bracket thing too.
$1 million.
The old bracket.
And, the bracket thing has turned upside down. There are a lot of interesting things to talk about, but I don't think there's very many people left in it that you would say these are the guys that are going to be in it. But it is ironic that they were up against each other.
Yeah, you asked.
I asked Alex, I said, what do you think? Do you think the bracket, because you're getting to the end of the race, you know where you're at? He's like, I didn't think the bracket would make this happen, make something like this happen.
Yeah.
But, maybe. And I'm like, $1 million, bro.
Well, we don't really know.
We don't know.
And I guess we will find out as we go forward.
Yes, we will. So those two shared some words after the race. So too did Ross Chastain and Joey Logano, which really was just Joey speaking and Ross smiling.
Yeah.
We have a video of that. It's very interesting. Joey, this is definitely not the first time we've seen this out of him. The hand Italian gestures and all the things going. And Ross really just seemed like he was pretty even keeled in this moment.
Yeah, well, Joey was wound up, and he was obviously looking for a more
reaction?
he was definitely looking for a reaction, which Ross did not give him. I don't know what he said to him, but it looked to me as Joey got more wound up as it went. But the way that Joey talks about it was that wasn't the first time that this has happened lately. So he's definitely not a Ross Chastain fan right now. I think that it didn't look as bad as what on TV as what it showed in Logano's reaction, but he came out on the wrong end of it, and so did Ricky Stenhouse as well. So there were definitely some guys that were on the other end of the one bumper.
Yeah.
Well, before we get your take, let's listen to the reaction from the in-car footage with Joey Logano on this incident. Take a listen.
Ross just shipped you. Get it rolling here straight. Get rolling straight. The f*** is the problem? Caution, 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 caution. Ross better get the f*** information right before he goes and wrecks somebody. And if 6 cars behind me wreck it into me, and then he destroys me from 4 back. That mother.
Oh, I love Joey's radio. And you commented you're so glad you don't have to drive anymore.
I am so glad. I don't have to be on the other side of the radio button anymore, getting critiqued about everything that you say. So, Joey's fiery, and he's obviously not run as well as they'd like to run lately, and frustrated. You can hear the frustration, and you can definitely hear his frustration with the one car. There's more to it than just this, it sounds like.
Yeah. That one was kind of, so Joey runs into Ross, whether he's getting pushed from behind or not. I don't really remember. So the last thing Ross sees before knows for sure before he's sideways is that the 22 is behind him and hit him. And he hit him pretty solid. So then Ross goes into the next corner and is like, all right, well, I'll do the same to you or worse. And I feel bad for Ricky Stenhouse to the 47 group.
Yeah.
They were in position to move on. And they're one of those in the bracket. And they're one of those teams that winning the bracket's a huge deal. $1 million extra to that group is a big deal. And so for them to get caught up in this little feud, I feel bad for them. But Ross's face, he's just staring at him, just like whatever he said.
And he's getting mad.
Kept Joey wild and mad. I love it. I'm here.
And that's the hard part about the road course stuff in these situations. A lot of times your spotter will give you false information. So you get wound up, and whether Ross got the right information or not, we don't know. But he could have received the wrong information, but he definitely went back at it.
Some hurt feelings leaving this place. I want to go back to a big incident that happened right out of the gate, lap 4 with Carson Hocevar. And I mean, this created a huge traffic jam.
And it's so easy to do exactly what Hocevar does right here. He hits the inside wall. And when you hit that inside wall at the apex of the corner, it just shoots the car straight. Takes the steering out from underneath you. But you see the result right here. In the narrowest part of the racetrack, a lot of guys just not getting the message that they were stacking up right there and just kept piling in.
They did.
And you see Ty Gibbs and Logano and a bunch of these guys, Blaney, able to miss this wreck, but so many guys. And once the brakes lock up right there, you're in no man's land coming around that corner, and then all of a sudden you pop out from behind that wall right there, and there's just a bunch of cars stacked up.
There's a in-car video of Gragson coming through, and that everyone should go check out. But he's coming through, and he has had a head of steam, and he's further back in the pack. So they've been checked up, and somehow he gets it locked up. He's sliding sideways, released the brake, slides the other way. He's like, I have no idea how I got that thing wound up. That was a hard impact.
Yes,
it was. And you got to remember, each one of those barriers weigh about 10,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And you see how easily that barrier moved, tells you how hard and how heavy these cars are. But when you clip that inside wall with this right side of the car like that, it'll shoot you straight into the outside
also,
wall.
some of those corners, they had the barrier up against the curb. So like it has no give. Right, so if it's up against the curb, so if you hit a little bit, it's really shooting you out. You have no balance.
And the way that those barriers are, they're two straight barriers, and then they flatten the one at the apex right there to kind of make the turn round. But man, when you hit it, there is no steering.
We have another look of this incident from Austin Dillon's in-car with some language and feelings on Carson. Take a listen.
Me here, fountain section. 2 back to the 77, 3 back to the 66. Thank you. 4 made it to pit road. Still piling in. Carson Hocevar is the biggest dumbass in the entire sport. Everybody knows it, buddy.
I want to know what the thing was that came over the top of the car. Because he hit a ton to knock something out.
And I think, you hear Austin Dillon's reaction right there, and he's frustrated at the moment. But, I mean, that is an easy mistake to make at this track. And goes back to what I talked about earlier. A lot of these guys are driving over the limit that they can do lap after lap after lap. And I think Hocevar was fast. But you see how close to disaster that you are when you're on that edge, like Hocevar was, and that's the difference between a Hocevar and an SVG, right? Like SVG can carry that pace comfortably. Hocevar is on the verge of disaster every lap going that pace.
Yep, definitely some frustrations mounting though on those radios.
Well, it's hot. There's a lot of guys that haven't. Austin Dillon's sitting there running well,
like fourth
in a good position right there, and then all of a sudden somebody else's mistake takes you out, and you hear the frustration that a lot of the drivers have towards Hocevar. And he's just going to be guilty at this point for being
just for being Carson. You're guilty.
You're driving the 77 car, so you're the dumbass.
I do want to give a call out to Corey Heim and that group, because even with it broken, that mug about qualified with a broken toe link on a road course. Like that was, so I'm glad that Catherine made the show. Like, I think that's awesome. She had, she finished like 19th?
She was 19th, yes.
So a good run, stayed out of trouble, all the things. But Corey coming close enough, like even that close with that car, that was insane to me.
I look at it differently. I look at it as a complete disaster. Well, for the 67 car and Corey Heim. And I think that's the coaching that goes into these types of situations in these moments on these street courses, especially in his position. Don't wreck. You have to beat one car. We want you to go fast in the race, but you have to first be in the race. And the way that all went down with the mistake that he made in practice, that's a big moment because of the fact that he didn't get any laps. He didn't get to race. And that was the only reason that he was there. And those are that's a tough teaching moment. But I think a guy like Corey Heim that is mentally tough like he is, you think that that'll be a learning moment that he will never forget. The disaster comes from the part of not being able to get all the laps in the race. It worked out good for Catherine Legg.
Yep.
And they gave it their only effort that they could give with the bent toe leak and things that happened. But, I think that 90% rule is in effect when you're in that position in practice and qualifying.
Especially there at Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, she was way faster in qualifying, but still 2 seconds off the pace, 2.5 seconds off the pace, which would have been, I think, very easy for Corey Heim to make that road. So not an ideal situation for that moment to miss the race.
Not an ideal situation either for Michael McDowell. How frustrating do you think it is for him to know this is one of his best shots, had a good car, and then had the throttle issues that plagued them?
Well, it did exactly what he needed to do, right? Qualified well, leading the race, doing everything that he needed to do. And, the issues that he had, with the car and the throttle and everything that they had going on. So a lot of things, the teams do a lot of things to try to get the throttle in this car is not great. The way that it cams over with the way that the pedal is, and it gives the driver a really tough feeling of what the throttle feels like. So it's hard to manage the throttle correctly. So through the years, and this started when I started in the next gen car as well, was trying to get the throw of that throttle correct. So not sure what they have going on, but definitely didn't work out for Michael, and I felt like he was in position to have a good day.
Yeah, at least be right there in the mix, right? I mean, if he was there in the mix too, so now you had Ty Gibbs. Like, you need more people pressuring SVG. Yeah. As many as you can have to, because you'd be like, all right, man, you go off and try to get him. I can't get him right now. That helps, at least give you an opportunity.
And I felt like at the beginning of the race, I felt like kind of like Hocevar, McDowell was 10/10. He was going all he could go, and SVG just sitting back there rolling into the corner and rolling through the middle of the corner, just waiting for him to do something wrong.
You referenced Ty Gibbs, who's always strong on the road courses, even when he was in the Xfinity Series. They are really, I think they're going to win soon.
I do too. And I think that they've got the speed.
They do.
And now it's just those 1 or 2 moments on a weekly basis that you got to manage, whether it's the driver, the pit call, whatever those moments are that the guys that are going to win make right. And that's where they are. I feel like the speed, he's an unbelievable road racer. And we saw that really from his first Xfinity race at the Daytona road course when he went down there and won that race. But I mean, he's shown up week after week after week now with the speed, qualifying well, in position, drove a smart race yesterday to put himself in contention at the end. Because it's just like last year. I mean, SVG, late restart, got pushed out of the way. You just have to be in that mix, and eventually you knock that barrier over.
Yeah, I mean, they need the win. Like, not only I think they're fast enough to win, but they need to. It's not like a desperation thing of need. It's just like, we need to get this monkey off of our back and punch the ticket and cross all the T's and dot all the I's and get this thing done. Because then the floodgates can kind of open. Now the pressure's a little different. It's time.
And I think when you look at a Ty Gibbs, he's the danger for a guy like Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace, right? Mm-hmm. It's those guys like Ty Gibbs that have figured things out and now in position to win. Yes. Ryan Preece, same type of scenario. Those two guys are in position to knock that barrier over at any moment on any type of racetrack, oval, road course, whatever track it is. Those two guys are in position to win. And that's what the Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace scenario, that's the worry in their scenario, because those are just a couple guys. I mean, look at Hocevar, right? Yeah. Like, if he doesn't hit something or do something, something doesn't happen on pit road, he's got the speed week in and week out. And most of the time, eventually those guys that are that good figure it out and have teams that are good enough to figure it out, like Preece and Gibbs have. Those are the types of guys that knock people out, like Bowman and Wallace, because they're in position of being able to win.
Brother, you know who else is starting to figure it out? It's 2 of them. Legacy as a whole, Legacy Motor Club. Yeah, they're both. I think they're both top 20 in points now. Like, they're.
And I was looking at that bracket. Like, when you go to Dover, And you look at the Eric Jones position.
John Hunter Nemechek.
If he makes it through Sonoma out of the bracket this week, I mean, he could go to Dover. I mean, that's a really good track for Eric Jones to go up there and shine.
I felt like the bracket, for you to win the whole thing, whoever wins the whole thing, their average finish is going to be like 12th to 15th because so many people are going to fall out that run in the top 10. Yeah. So I'm really interested to see when we get to Indy where that whole thing is.
Yeah, and I think that, look, the brackets, there's a little bit of luck.
Oh, for sure.
Involved in no matter what racetracks we go to. But starting at Atlanta just turned it all upside down. Yeah.
Tyrone.
Throw it up in the air.
And I mean, Ty Dillon's still in it.
Yeah.
Tyrone, where's Tyrone? Give me this camera for a minute. Tyrone Bracket Buster Dillon is just putting it on him. I mean, he has a quote. Did you hear the quote? Did you hear the quote? He said, well, in a basketball city, going up against Brad, he don't even know how to play knockout, so I wasn't very worried. I wasn't worried about it. Because, Brad has that video of him trying to...
I just don't know how you talk that much trash when you run that bad, though.
I mean, because it's all about the Benjamins,
I would just be more humble about it. I mean, if you were up there running first or second, third, fifth, something, and you're knocking people out of the bracket, but you're knocking the guys out that are crashing. Let's not be cocky about it.
It's okay. I would do it. I would do it.
If it wasn't for Carson, Brad would have probably still been in the mix.
I promise you, if I knocked out Kevin Harvick in anything, I'm going to let everyone know about it, like I did the other Sunday when my guy.
I think there's a. I don't know. I just think there's a better way to go about it when you're not just like beating people.
Like I'm very humble. I haven't even mentioned yet that I picked the winner.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you are in second.
Wow.
You're definitely in second.
Wait.
I didn't even text you guys to harass y'all because I was like, I know they didn't want to hear this.
I put the first thing I did was put the camera right in Kevin's face when Chase Briscoe won. I was like, where you at?
I know you did. Well, that's okay. One thing I want to hit very quickly before we move on to the next race is what do you think is going on at Hendrick Motorsports, particularly with William Byron in the summer slump?
I think it's very consistent, right? Like I look at Byron and I look at Larson and those, I mean, it's very similar to the things that they've done in the past. We saw Byron was really fast in practice, crashed right there at the end, tore the car up, clutch issues in the race. Larson, I mean, those guys have just kind of been there. They haven't been spectacular like they were at the beginning of the season. But to me, that's exactly how the last couple of years have gone. You go through this summer slump of being off compared to how they were at the beginning of the season. And so that makes it tough to just show back up at the end of the year. But Larson's been off since the whole
Indy
stuff started to happen. I really think that at the All-Star race and that weekend forward, those guys haven't been as sharp as they were at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Byron is he's lightning fast.
He is. But then there's some random rogue issue.
They're not off. He's made mistakes.
Crashed at Pocono. Crashed at Chicago.
So and I don't even the mistakes are weird because I don't know how hard he's pushing. I can't sit here and be like, I can.
Pretty hard.
It seems like it must be though, right? Because or else he wouldn't be stepping across the line. So I would be interested in talking to him a little bit and wondering what it is he thinks that if he's pushing that hard. Why do you feel like you need to push that hard? Because you're fast enough. You can take a little bit out and still be right where you need to be. So
and I have a when it's now it's consistently happening, right? Like now it's a thing. Now it's a thing that you talk about, and the mistakes are happening over and over and over, and it's not like the speed is in the car. Just back it down a couple notches in practice and put yourself in position to win. You've got everything that you need to win. But now it's mistakes. It's not speed. No, the mistakes are taking you out of the game. But they've definitely had the speed at both places and kind of beat themselves.
This season is so long, KV. It's hard to stay locked in.
It is.
You always say that.
And that's the hardest part of the season is keeping your circle of life balanced to be able to be mentally prepared to perform on that edge all the time. And right now they're not performing on that edge; they're over the edge, and it's really William making mistakes for the most part that have kept them out of the mix. I think the 5 is a little bit different. I think that they've just not had the sheer speed that the 24 has had in practice and in the race. They've been grinding out average finishes, which are below average for what we expect out of the 5.
Yeah.
Yes, and they have 7 weeks to try and get things moving in the right direction. Next opportunity, of course, is this weekend out in wine country, Sonoma, another road course. You've won there. Even Clint Boyer's won there.
Yeah.
Even Clint Boyer's won there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that win, though?
Well, Sonoma was always a place where we always ran really well. I have a long history at Sonoma, close to Bakersfield. Ran my Southwest Tour cars up there. Won those races. One of my first Winston West races was one up there. So long history. Ran trucks up there, and always seemed like something went wrong on Sunday, and just kind of that hometown jinx of not being able to put the whole weekend together to get to victory lane. But we finally knocked that barrier over. I don't even remember what year it was.
2017.
So we finally got to victory lane and we're able to drink a little wine in victory lane and celebrate. So great racetrack, totally different than a Watkins Glen. Very technical. I think that it's just those small usages of the throttle in the key parts of the corners, repaved a couple years ago. So grip levels are a little different than what they have been, 5 or 6 years ago. So, I still think with the grip levels this high, I think you're going to have a really, really hard time beating that 88 car.
Really?
I do.
He won there last year in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me. I mean, every time we go Chicago street course, SVG for sure.
Yeah.
When we went to Mexico the first time, SVG, he's been in the mix at all of the road courses.
Yep.
Not as dominant at the ones, obviously, that the Cup our guys are used to going to. So I think it's interesting to me because I think it opens up the field a little bit.
I would agree.
I would definitely look at a Chris Buescher, AJ Allmendinger's always there, Tyler Reddick, and
I think it's Allmendinger's worst road course.
it is his worst. It is weirdly his worst.
And
road
the
course.
reason that it's his worst road course is because of the fact that he's so aggressive in those braking zones, and this is not a be
charge.
super aggressive, charge the brake zone type racetrack. This is a rhythm, finesse type track, and I don't think that's Allmendinger's road course wheelhouse. I think he'll still be decent, but it's not like he is at Watkins Glen.
Yeah,
and I think that that opens the door for the Buschers and the Preeces. For whatever reason, Ryan Preece is all of a sudden in the wheelhouse on the road courses, right? Typically, this is a place where the Hendrick cars are going to qualify good, typically fall off a little bit more than the other cars. We've seen Truex be good here for a number of years. So, you've seen Denny Hamlin win here, which is much different with when you talk about Denny Hamlin on a road course with finesse. I don't think he'll win, but I think it's probably more in his wheelhouse because of that finesse and just the things that you need to do to make lap time at Sonoma.
This place is usually crew chief, right? Like it's usually a strategy race.
Yeah.
Something gets flipped or you're trying a couple different things.
For sure.
Remember when Cole Pern tricked your crew chief?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
I will never forget that. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, that was great.
I forget what year that was, but
I remember that one hurt.
Which matchup? You're the big bracket guy over here on TNT, Trader. What's the big...
Shots fired.
Old Slippy Slappy over there.
Just trying to make it. The guy trying to make a living out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just picking. Which one are you most looking at for those matchups?
It's honestly the legacy matchup.
Okay.
Because, I mean, two things. One, they're for surely getting one car to the next round.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
So that's kind of cool. But unfortunately, you got to navigate. Someone's going to be a little upset.
That will be interesting.
I think John Hunter Nemechek has put in a lot of work into his road course program, and it's shown up at, honestly, every road course he's been pretty good, around the top 10. I think he finished 6th at Mexico. So that one, I'm watching that one pretty close.
I'm curious about this race from the team perspective because obviously everyone got home late last night. They were at the shops first thing this morning. Their haulers have to leave today, I think tonight. What's it like on the guys? Just like that quick turnaround.
Yeah, tough. And really these races that go from east to west and have to come back next week and race at Dover. Just that planning and preparation. It's not something that they're not used to. I think once they got through Mexico, I think anything was probably able to be accomplished. But the thing I like about where we are right now with Mexico and these two road courses being so close together, it really allows you to evolve your road racing program and be able to kind of stay in that rhythm of what you're doing from that perspective, and not have one in June and one at the end of the year. Now you get a chunk of them. Yeah, and, I think that it lets you evolve from a setup standpoint. Now, I don't think that Chicago and Sonoma are going to be super close on what you need in the race car because of the types of racetracks that they are. But I do think there are some things from all the technical sections that you're going to take from Mexico City to use at Sonoma now that it does have the newer asphalt. The grip levels are a little higher than they used to be. It used to always just be, how do I make the car last and keep that forward drive, which is why we excelled there, because it was more into that wheelhouse of trying to keep the rear tires on the car. I don't think you have to worry about that as much now. So I think that the strategy and style of it has changed a little bit, but it's still that technical Sonoma.
Have you guys ever seen Sonoma in the spring when the grass is green there? Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that the grass grew green there.
Because it's always yellow.
Because every time I've ever seen it, it's been yellow and out of season. I would love to see Cup cars running around there when the grass is green. It looks like you're in Europe. Like, it just looks so beautiful. I think
all of us from Fox would love to see it in the first 14 weeks.
I would love that.
I thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Can you make that happen?
I can talk to my people.
Can
you make that happen?
I cannot.
What about the Dunn Committee? Can the Dunn Committee make that happen?
I don't know that Dunn is necessary in this scenario. Okay. I feel like it might be a little bit outside of the Dunn Committee.
Well, you're the commissioner, so I gotta check with you first.
Yeah, I hope our Dunn Committee doesn't wind up like the Doge Committee. I hope it doesn't wind up in a political warfare.
Yeah. That's not what we're trying to do.
Not what we're trying to achieve. Okay, so we look forward to seeing how it all goes down in Sonoma. And now, my friend, it is time for your sips. Appropriate, going to wine country.
Welcome to the world's favorite segment, Mamba's Social Sips.
Oh, it's the world now.
Well, that's right. That's what they told me.
Yeah. Slappy.
Tyler, you lied to me.
Yeah.
This is
Slappy social sips.
I was gonna give Kevin a compliment about his shoes, but now we're just rolling it. All right.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Appreciate
for that.
you.
What's the best way to watch the race? You might ask. Right?
Yeah. Sounds like at Kevin Harvick's house.
You got stuff to do on a Sunday. You know what I mean? You're trying to multitask at the family. Mm-hmm. This guy.
Yeah.
Check out this first clip. This guy found the best way to watch the race. He's sitting on his lawnmower. Look at it.
There's more innovation on that than a Cup car.
Listen, wow. The little red wagon with the cooler, I'm sure it's full of bush lights.
That is very creative.
I don't know how, honestly, I don't know how he got the TV to be able to turn it. Like, I'm a little confused about how it's operating. Unless
it's a blue.
Is the mower, is he plugged into the mower, Kevin? Like, what do you think here?
Is that he pulled the mower, so it's not electric.
Yeah,
is he using like a generator to?
We have.
I don't know.
Inquiring minds want to know. How do we get in touch with this guy to find out how
he
orchestrated
this?
Yeah,
we need to understand how that television is working.
Yeah,
but very creative.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, very creative.
A+ on creativity.
I love it. This was a really cool post that I saw over the weekend. Tyler Trosper, who worked with you in your finale season. I think Tyler was the interior guy for you. He used to be a roommate of mine. And his wife put this really cool, Jordan put this really cool post up. It was like a little reel. Just being a supportive spouse, because we know how hard it is in this sport. So I thought it was cool. Give some love to the fans back home, you know?
Well, the best way to be successful in racing is to have a spouse that is very racing oriented, because it is a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to do this, you have to be committed to the racing lifestyle. And fortunately, I have a wife, Delana, that grew up in the sport. Her dad was into racing. She was working in racing and understands just the kind of the nuances of the moving and shaking of the sport. Because if you don't, and you want to treat it like a normal, and you want to have a normal lifestyle, and you want to have normal things happen in your life, your
In the
marriage
wrong place.
is probably not going to work because you have to adopt the lifestyle to be successful and happy.
Yep.
And you married them.
I did marry them.
That's cute.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you were ordained.
There's a lot of things about me.
I did
Kaitlyn,
not
you
know
don't
that.
I have never been more nervous.
Oh, I bet
Doing
that's like
anything.
a big responsibility.
50,000 people in the grandstand's cool.
Yeah.
30 people in front of me, making sure I don't ruin this moment for two really good
Oh
friends.
my God, seriously.
My knees were shaking. That
That's
was great.
funny.
So shout out to them. Ryan Blaney. He's been having some good tweets lately.
Oh, congrats to him, by the way, on the baby.
Oh
Yeah, baby boy.
Baby boy.
That'll be the prettiest baby ever. Their genetics.
Yeah, they're gonna be. Yeah, I think that kid's gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
It was funny being there because we couldn't tell with the fireworks if it was pink or blue, and so everyone were twins. Like we didn't know, so it was pretty funny. But this tweet is about Jeff Gluck was talking about Saturday night races after Echo Park, and so he was like, basically, like NASCAR just can't seem to pull the numbers on Saturday nights that we normally see, and Ryan kind of came to the defense of the Saturdays. Like we're still doing really well. There's 500K more folks who tuned in. Why are people making it out to be a bad thing? I think there's so many things to do on Saturday. People are looking to do other things on Saturday night. And also, but on the flip side, like Saturday night is good for the industry because we run so long. Like you get a Sunday back home with your family. That one, a couple weekends where we get that one day back, I think is really important. So Ryan is kind of supporting the industry on that one. Look at his face. Look at his face. What you guys say?
Cup racing's for Sunday.
Brother.
Yeah, if you want a weekend off, let's give them a weekend off. But cup races are for Sundays. And
Sundays only for Kevin?
I mean, that's when.
Do you not like night races though? Did you not like those?
Yeah, I do like night races, but
We only do them on Saturday.
yeah, well,
Sunday
I think
nights are tough.
We've
Sunday's
done
tough.
a lot of Sunday night races.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that Jeff Gluck has a point. I think Blaney has a point. I think that I don't necessarily like. I agree with Blaney that crushing the sport in a moment like this is probably not the right thing to do for an industry person. It's not as bad as the Sun-Time Steve Greenberg, who knows nothing about racing. Jeff Gluck knows a lot about racing and does a great job covering the sport. But I can see both of their points, and they're both very well educated in racing and what happens on a weekly basis. So thank you both for being a key part of our sport, unlike Steve Greenberg.
I was about to ask, what was his name?
Steve Greenberg.
Steve Greenberg
He
from
sounded
the
like a-
Chicago Sun-Times.
A jilted X or something in this article. You got to read it.
He's a
It's
little-
very odd.
He sounds completely out of touch.
But
Yeah. Don't give him clicks. Yeah. Don't give him clicks because that's the only thing he was educated enough to write was something that might get him clicks with a good title. But anyway, I agree. I think we should only race on Sunday. I think if you want to put it on Sunday night, I mean, you got Monday Night Football and you got Sunday Night Football, and the biggest games on Sunday are at night.
There you go.
Sundays are tough.
Kevin has spoken.
You know what we else have? We also have a mailbag.
Oh, is it good? Controversial?
It is controversial.
Okay.
I want to wait. Yeah, we have a mailbag. Kaitlyn's whispering in my ear. I'm like, I know what I'm doing.
one.
Don't worry about it, what we got going on. I know what I'm doing. All right, the mailbag is from Jack Kane. He goes, why can road course superstars, SVG, Marcus Ambrose, AJ Allmendinger, Juan Pablo Montoya, etc., do so well in Cup road course venues, yet not succeed on ovals? My personal opinion, Kevin, is that a lot of those guys never race with top flight teams. So their advantage, especially in the cars that they were driving most of the time, their advantages were on the road courses.
Yeah.
Not your regular ovals.
Yes. And I think a lot of that just comes with what you grew up doing, right? And you look at SVG, Ambrose, Allmendinger, Juan Pablo Montoya, was in contention to win a lot of oval races. I think about Indianapolis and the things that he was able to do at Indy. I think that when you look at Ambrose, he was never in a very good car. I think he would have been very much so what SVG is currently if he was in a car of that caliber. I think he had the capability to be a long-standing superstar in this sport and eventually win on an oval because you look at a guy like Marcus Ambrose and SVG, their racing IQ is super high. And they're great learners and great race car drivers at what they do. They're naturally going to be better at the road courses because that's what they've done all their life. They're not catching up, but they have the ability to close the gap on a lot of guys and put themselves in position to eventually be capable of winning on an oval. Montoya did it. He was in the mix on the ovals by the time, that he wasn't in the car anymore. So, you look at Montoya, Ambrose never had the opportunity that SVG and Montoya had with the caliber of car that he drove, but he had that capability to probably win just about every road course that he ever entered if he had the cars that these guys are driving now. So super high IQ level, and I think that SVG has made a lot of inroads on his progression on the ovals, and I think that is going to continue to happen as he goes forward.
And I think if you look at the AJ portion of it, every time he goes somewhere, he elevates that team. Now, granted,
Good point.
Again, it's not the top level team, so the fact that he's been able to take colleague racing, especially the Xfinity program, to Final Fours, like that's that's a big deal. So it matters. So Arby's had this awesome tweet when Bubba spun out right in front, and it says he had to do a McDouble take, and obviously Arby's was a big supporter and sponsor of this race, and they had all the signage. So Kaitlyn really loved this one. So
I just think it's funny when businesses do that with each other. It's always
here
very
for it.
clever.
I like the interaction.
I do too.
I think Arby's has obviously done a good job of activating their NASCAR sponsorship, a huge part of the event this weekend. And they did a great job, and I love the interaction.
That's why I like it when we have sponsors in the same category, and they can if we do it right, we should always be doing that because they lift each other up, even though they're competing. But that's part of the fun of competing.
That's the fun banter. I like that.
I like that.
And I don't think that McDonald's never even. You think they were watching?
If it was Wendy's, Wendy's would have fired back.
Wendy's would have fired back. Yeah, that's what we need. We need Arby's and Wendy's to go at it on social media.
That's the thing. Like Arby's kind of went after that's like going after your uncle instead of your cousin because because McDonald's is like an OG mega worldwide brand. Wendy's, if you go after Wendy's, that's your cousin that's fiery. Like you don't want the smoke.
Yeah.
So anyway. That is Mamba's Social Sips.
There you go.
Leave a voicemail at 805-317-4175 or mailbag at harvickhappyhour4@gmail.com.
What did you think of the EV exhibition this week?
Their cars go fast.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Packed crowd.
Packed crowd. Raj was in one. Brent Cruz was in one, and David Reagan was in one. Raj lost or something. I don't know.
Why are we still doing this? I think this is past. I think that there could be a good hybrid version, but I think we should leave the electric cars at home.
I think that
waste of money.
That's gonna be a series. If it was a series.
Nobody in NASCAR, no NASCAR fan wants to see electric cars.
I don't want to see it. I like where we're at.
That's exactly.
I like where we're at.
You can say it.
I
don't
like
want to
where
see
we're
it.
at. I like.
Look at these things. I mean, they're cool cars.
They're super cool.
But it is 180 degrees of what NASCAR is.
I just personally. I'm a traditionalist. I just like V8 engine sound. And
I mean, look at Dodge.
Same.
They brought the freaking Hemi back, right?
Yeah.
They needed them.
Brother. I thought I bought the last year of the Dodge Durango Hellcat, and they said nope, we're bringing it back.
Yeah, Dodge is bringing back the Hemi V8. You got to keep up with the times. Get rid of those things.
That might be an item for the Dunn Committee.
Yeah, Dunn Committee. Let's be done with it.
I forgot you wanted to work that in there.
I didn't even know. First of all, no one told me that was coming, so I got.
Well, you answered well.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio. NASCAR is not responsible for this promotion and used under license.
Before we get into our
V8s.
picks for this week, guys, let's take a look at the best bet of the weekend.
Yeah.
Courtesy of DraftKings.
Best bet of the weekend was SVG. Imagine that. plus 125. And I think the guy in second was like plus 750.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't even remember who the second best I saw at the beginning of the broadcast, but I don't know that there was a more sure bet at going to a Cup race than SVG was this weekend.
The only more sure bet was that Denny Hamlin was going to lose to Ty Dillon in the bracket last week. That's the only bet. Bet.
Yeah. So second was Tyler Reddick at plus 650, and he was in contention at the end of the race, but SVG didn't make a lot of money off of him, but I don't know how you could bet against him.
That was a good parlay one. You would have needed to.
Yeah. So take the checkered flag with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Harvick. That's code Harvick for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Every week he does the crown gesture if you're just listening.
Yeah.
So time now to take a look at the SVG burnout, which we've always characteristically really liked these. What do we say for this
He's
one?
good at making smoke. He did another really good burnout right here, but
this is tight quarters too.
it is tight quarters. And the thing that I like about those tight quarters with the walls on both sides and you're sitting in those grandstands, it just sounds like it's going to blow your ears out.
Yep.
Echoes back and forth, but really
There's
good.
A lot of smoke.
Really good burnout. A lot of smoke. He knows exactly where and how to do these burnouts in that narrow quarters there on the front straightaway.
The more I look at it, the more I like it. And I think for me, this one is like it's like might be
Up
second.
there?
It might be
Okay.
right behind Chase Elliott's for me because there's just a lot of smoke and it's flare and he's just doing a lot of things.
Well, he did that in Mexico too, remember? He had a
Yeah.
pretty cool one in Mexico.
He did it in the Xfinity race, almost took out our boy Jake.
I've lost track of the rankings, so we're just going to put it somewhere in the top 3.
Okay.
But not
There we
first,
go.
though.
Not
first.
first.
First is still 100% not first.
we
So
know Chase
we'll put
is
him
first.
2 through 5.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. But
And that really matters. That's really
First
how
is easy.
That's really how we need to do it for the most part, because if you're not passing Chase, then like it was good, but it wasn't good enough.
yeah, it wasn't great.
Right. No one has touched
Not
Chase yet.
spectacular.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking for spectacular.
I need this
We need to catch one on fire and burn it to the ground.
to the ground.
That's what we're looking for.
And then just bow at the car.
That's right. And it had mud flaps on it. You could have done it.
Oh, he could have done it.
Yeah, you got to catch the mud flaps on fire.
Is that at the short tracks too? The mud flaps?
No mud flaps.
No
at
mud
the short
flaps.
track.
Okay.
You got rain capability, but
Right.
mud flaps only get road courses.
Okay. So
Okay.
we're looking at
Yeah,
Sonoma.
I think they're still on there.
Walking squad.
But the only way you're going to catch the car on fire is catch mud flaps. The mud flaps are flammable, so park it against the wall and catch the mud flaps on fire.
Didn't
and then,
Zane Smith do that?
Yeah,
at
and
Coda?
the truck race at Coda.
Coda,
was awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, he did.
yeah. A couple times
Yep.
it happened.
Yeah.
I don't remember who the other one was.
John Hunter did an Xfinity race.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, guys, it is time to look at the standings.
She's been waiting
Where
for this
I have
whole
made
time.
a little bit of ground.
You made up 4 points. Bad week to win.
We are tied currently.
No, you're
Mamba and I
second.
are tied
But
at
who's
55.
second? Wait, who's second?
She's definitely second.
That's not what the
Yeah,
standings
I'm giving
say.
her the tiebreaker.
I think this is
Kevin
biased.
just continues to climb ahead.
You have to be
92.
last.
He didn't climb ahead.
Was he at 92 last
No, but
week?
you won and he finished second, so he didn't. He gained
I know, but
points
that
on
number is
We're even.
jarring. I'm 55.
Yeah.
And he's at
92 is
92
definitely
almost double.
Way bigger than 55.
Yes,
but it's not
that's-
double.
When you can only get 10 points at a time. So right now I have a roughly almost 4 race lead.
Wow.
Yeah, going into you're a regular season champion, but you got to be the champ. That's the only one that matters. So whatever.
I don't know.
Okay, so who do
I
we
don't
say
know.
for this week at Sonoma, guys? Who wants to go first?
You won.
Oh, I won. Okay, I had 2 names written down. Originally, I said Kyle Larson, but now I want to select Ty Gibbs because I think that would be cool.
Oh.
I would love to see him win.
Okay.
I'm going.
Do you want
Ty
to go
Gibbs.
next?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'll take SVG.
Yeah.
If
Yeah, I
she's not
can't-
going to take him,
I
I'm going to
can't
take him.
take him 2
Somebody
weeks
has
in
to
a
take
row.
him. Why?
I
You don't want to be a
know.
winner?
That's like not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you got
Yeah.
a good chance at winning, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with William Byron.
okay.
okay.
Yeah. He was. I feel like he probably feels some type of way after this weekend.
What type of way would you feel?
A bad type of way. Like I'm really mad at myself and at the situation.
2 weeks in a row.
Right. And so
He'll
he's.
be on a tear. You're saying.
I think there's something
Okay.
about when you mess up yourself and you just lock in a little bit harder. I feel like I think he's going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they have the capability to do it, but there's definitely some stumbles that have happened consistently now. And we've got this summer slump. I just don't like this summer slump.
Yeah.
Every year.
Every year.
When are we going to see Scotty Mack come over and mess around?
You know, I'd love to see Scotty Mack get the opportunity to do that, the crossover.
Yeah.
I think as you look back in the battles that he and Shane had, in the supercars there, the Australian supercars, I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
And I think that he has the capability to do. I don't know why Penske is not more open to let these guys do those types of things. I mean, they're done in
August.
They're done at the last weekend of August. So got September and October. So the Roval seems like a great spot to just turn him loose.
Turn him loose.
Let him run. You need some extra teammates out there. Let him.
Kind of.
Like
I mean,
this. Hey.
why not? I don't understand why they don't try it.
It'll be great, I think. Even Will Brown this weekend for Colleague in the 13 did a great job. Like,
And if they're worried about doing it, I mean, because they have Fords and Chevys and Chevys on the IndyCar side, just send him to Project 91 and let him race.
Let him go on your guy.
Let him go up against the same. I mean, that'd be a great story.
It would be a good story. We're here to just, get these ideas going and see if we can make them happen.
Big Scotty Mack guy. I want to see.
Yeah.
I mean, does Project 91, does it have anybody in the queue, you think?
That's kind of why I brought it up, because I haven't really heard much
anything about it. Yeah.
about it.
No, that is
After Shane and like even with Connor, he drives the 87 car.
Right.
So I'm just kind of curious what's going on.
We need to get that Project 91 car back out.
Yeah.
We need to get
Marks,
caught off guard by something spectacular, Justin.
Yeah, come on, Justin.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Well, SVG interview Thursday. We look forward to that. Make sure you tune in. Also subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a review, leave 5 stars while you're at it. And we will see all of you after Sonoma.